Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting together tonight, as you can see in my title, is some information that I came across last night that I found to be very, very troubling, and I was actually surprised that this was something that hasn't been spread all over the internet, especially in New York, as of November 5th, election night. I'm going to put a little context to everything before I start showing you guys some video and an article that I want to read you. We all know that on election night, every state and county, they on their ballots, of course, they want you to vote for a president, vice president. Then they have lists of senators and judges or whatever the case is, okay, that they want you to vote for whatever party, left, right, independent, whatever the case is. But also, there's also some other laws that they want people to vote on, okay? Case in point, in Florida, they had two laws that they wanted to give the people to vote on. One of them was Amendment 3, which was the legalization of recreational marijuana, and the second was Amendment 4, which was for abortion. And that was something that was big, in my opinion, in a lot of the states, because that's what the left has been touting for the longest. Okay, this fascination of passing laws where women could just keep getting abortions at whatever time during the pregnancy that they want. I'm not going to get into that, okay? I'm going to digress on that, just to give context. So, like I said, in every state have different laws that they want to pass. Now, you'll have your laws, and then they have some laws, from what I take, that will go into a state's constitution, okay? We have the Constitution for the whole of the United States, and then every state has their own constitution. Okay, so last night after I dropped the video, I stayed up for a few hours doing some research. For some odd reason, a video popped up on my video feed, and it was only like a 10-11 minute video, but it was for a law, a proposition that was supposed to be voted on in New York, okay? And I found it kind of strange. I watched the video, and it shocked me. It really shocked me, because not only was this something that a lot of people probably didn't know, it was almost, from the information I got, it was almost as if it was hidden, because supposedly to vote on that law, which is Proposition 1, it was behind the ballot sheet. Okay, I did a little more research, and it looks like in total a little over 3 million people supposedly, I'm assuming in all of New York State, were aware of this and voted. It wind up passing. Okay, it got over 2 million votes. It wind up passing. So some people may say, well, what's the big deal? Or maybe if you heard of it, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, the law is an anti-discrimination law. But here's the thing. It's actually not what it is that they're saying it is. And if you read my title, this video I am directing basically to everyone in New York and everyone around the United States, because there's something that's said in the video that I will point out, and there's something that people need to understand, and I've been saying it for the longest, that when it comes to California and when it comes to New York, when they start passing certain laws, trust me, it is a precedent for them to set it up to try and pass these types of draconian laws throughout the United States. Okay, so if I got your attention, okay, I'm going to try to jump back and forth on this as I'm explaining what's going on, playing the video and reading the article, because this is definitely going to make everybody very shocked And if you're not shocked at it, okay, then you seriously need to do some soul searching, because you don't want to believe what's going on. Okay? So, like I said, if I got your attention, please watch the whole video, pass it to everyone, and by all means, even though the law has passed, if anybody or everyone in New York is uncomfortable, whoever watches this video, I suggest that you people get back to the ballot booth, or get back to your public officials like your governor and your mayor, and I mentioned them because if you think in New York that Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams have nothing to do with this, and the Attorney General and all those higher ups, if you think they have nothing to do with it, you are big time mistaken. Okay? You are big time mistaken. A law like this is not going to pass without the approval, number one, in my opinion, of the governor. Okay? So, with all that being said, I'm gonna set this up. Okay? I'm gonna play 2 clips that I played in yesterday's video, so like that I can start pointing out what's going on. Here we go.
Percentage points compared to 2020.
We cannot ignore certain populations in our state that feel taken for granted. I understand that. But I will also point out, no one expected that we would see the gains that we had in the houses, the House of Representatives.
Hochul says while they will work with the incoming administration, she also created a task force called the Empire State Freedom Initiative, which is focused on items that they believe are threatened by a Trump administration, which includes reproductive rights, civil rights, immigration, gun safety, labor rights, and LGBTQ rights.
Okay, now you heard that. Okay? What's one of the things that Trump has been saying about when he becomes president? That a lot of these laws that they're trying to push on everybody, especially on children in the schools and throughout the United States and different communities, that he's going to put a stop to that because it should not be forced upon people. Okay? Now you heard what she said. There's certain communities they got to take care of. You see this initiative that she put out, okay, which is for reproductive and civil rights, immigration, gun safety, labor rights, and gay rights. I last night in last night's video, I pointed that out, saying that, you know what, this is all a farce, because reproductive and civil rights are protected. They're not under attack. The Supreme Court, again, about the abortion right, said that it's not something that the government should be in charge of. Leave it up to the states. Every state has their rendition of what laws protect civil rights, what laws protect reproductive rights, what laws protect immigration rights, gun safety. Every state has their rendition of how they implement their laws to protect these rights on people. All this is just another initiative because the Democrats, and everybody should know this by now, okay, when they come up with laws, it's never clean cut. It's never just straight from A to Z. There's always some hidden, wicked agenda behind it. Always. Okay? And once again, I'm not blowing a dog whistle. This is for everybody in New York. Men, women, and young boys. You need to listen to this. And if anybody knows anybody in New York like I do, because I'm going to be spreading this to the people that I know, you need to go out there and show them this video or do your research. This is very important. Okay? So bear with me. Pay attention. You heard what Kathy Hochul had to say. Now let's listen to what Letitia James has to say. Here we go.
We will continue to protect and our most vulnerable and marginalized amongst us. Because it is my sworn duty and responsibility to lead that fight, working with the governor of this great state, Kathy Hochul.
Okay, now you heard what she just said. We're here to protect the marginalized and most vulnerable, okay, and that she's going to work with Kathy Hochul, the governor, okay. So now you heard the governor's initiative, okay. Inside that initiative, because she used certain verbiage, and so did this one, they're basically talking about two things. When they're talking about the most vulnerable and they're talking about the marginalized, you already know what they're talking about. They're talking about illegal immigrants, and they're talking about what else? Right. This whole transgender movement. That's basically what it is. Now, some people may say, well, you know what? They're trying to make laws. They're trying to make strides. It's all over the place. Everybody has equal opportunity to be protected by the law. Everybody has their civil rights protected. This is just their way of pushing, like I said, a hidden agenda. They're already on it. And the reason why they're bringing this up is because they know that once Donald Trump gets in office, well, he's already, elected president when he starts, in January, he already said that there are certain things that he's going to pass that's going to make it hard to be protecting people that will take advantage, basically, of these laws and push it on people. There's not going to be no more indoctrination in schools, no more DEI, no more of men and women's sports, and so on and so forth. No more letting illegals come in, especially the criminals, and so on and so on. And now they're trying to do something to stop it, to make sure that they can block it. Now, if I'm wrong, I need somebody to leave it in the comments or reach out to me through email. This law that they passed, okay, Proposition 1, it's something that's going into the New York State Constitution. If I had to guess the reason why they did it that way, because if it was just some regular law that they can pass, that law by the next administration that comes in could get rid of that law. But when it's instilled in a constitution, you can't really get rid of it. You can make amends to it. You can amend it. And just to amend it, I mean, you basically got to jump through like hoops of fire. Okay? And even amending it is not 100% safe. Okay? So, I hope I explained so much to give you guys an idea of where I shouldn't say where I'm going with this, but at least to a better understanding of that something is amiss. And that's why this video, like I said, is definitely directed to everyone in New York, all the mothers, all the fathers, all the young girls, all the young boys, okay? And then to everybody else around the United States, because if it starts in California, if it starts in New York, you best believe they are going to find ways to start taking bits and pieces of these propositions or these initiatives and try to implement it. Now, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what I'm talking about. Check this out. Here we go. Okay, so when I seen the video last night, I watched it and I said, you know what? The video had came out 4 or 5 days ago. Excuse me. And I was like, why wasn't this video put out more? So I said, well, let me look it up and find out if the proposition passed. And it did. It passed in New York. New York State voters passed Proposition 1. Okay? So I'm going to read some of this article, then we're going to get to the video. And what is said in the video is going to blow your mind, because it totally, once again, by someone reputable, contradicts, okay, what is being said. A lot of you people that voted for this, I don't think you've clearly understood where this law was going, where this proposition was going. And if you didn't know and this opened up your eyes, you're going to be very shocked. Okay? Now it says, Albany, New York voters have approved an amendment to the state's constitution barring discrimination based on things including gender identity and pregnancy outcomes. Changes supporters say will further protect transgender and abortion rights. Okay? Supporters and opponents disagree sharply about the potential legal impact of the Equal Rights Amendment, also known as Proposition 1. It was fiercely opposed by conservatives who said it would enshrine a legal right for transgender athletes to play on girls' sports teams. Okay? Now, I mean, there's more to this article, but I just figured that beginning right there should give everybody a heads up of where this is going, because the way the law was put out was to basically give everybody this feel-good reaction to say, you know what? Oh, yes, we're going to vote for another law that's going to protect civil rights for people, that's going to protect everybody's equal rights. There are laws like that already on the books, people. We know this. Growing up as a kid in New York, every time you had a job application, it would specifically say that you cannot be denied a job because of your sexual orientation, your religion, your creed, your race, all that. Okay? Was there discrimination? Yes, but there's discrimination everywhere. So we already know that there are rights for this. Okay? But the Democrats and the powers that be got slick with Proposition 1. I'll let the attorney, okay, who put this video out, explain it better, so you guys can see that, you know what, New York? You got played. And now, all the women and young girls and young boys in New York are going to be in harm's way. Check it out. Here we go. Now, this video was put out by Brett Weinstein. The channel's on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description. Okay? It says here, vote no on New York's Prop 1. Brett Weinstein and attorney Bobby Ann Cox. Listen to what this woman says. Listen to the way they hid the real meaning of Proposition 1. And listen to the dangers now that will affect every woman, every young girl, every boy in New York, because all this proposition has done, in my opinion, has opened up the floodgates for every freaking pedophile, for every freaking sexual predator that's going to be in New York to have their way in women's spaces and anywhere where there's going to be children. Once again, they took a pig and put lipstick on it like in California, and now this is a law that passed in New York, because while everybody was too busy bitching about Trump and bitching about Palestine and running around and doing this and doing that, you didn't bother to look at all the laws that were going to come out that will affect all of the people that you know. Never mind the people you don't know, it's also going to affect people that you know. Here we go.
In New York, please vote no on Prop 1. If you don't see it at the bottom of your ballot, flip the ballot over. It'll be on the back.
Hey folks, I'm sitting with Bobby Ann Cox, who is a constitutional lawyer in New York State and a fellow at the Brownstone Institute. We've just been in a conference here, and I have learned from her about Proposal 1 on the New York ballot, and I must say I was shocked and horrified at what she had to tell me, and I'm hoping that...
Okay, I'm going to stop it from time to time. It's only a 10-minute video. It says Proposal number 1, an amendment to protect against unequal treatment. This proposal would protect against unequal treatment based on ethnicity, national origin, what does that mean? Illegal immigrants, age, disability, and sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, and pregnancy. It also protects against unequal treatment based on reproductive health care and autonomy. A yes vote puts these protections in the New York State Constitution. A no vote leaves these protections out of the state constitution. We don't need to worry about the reproductive health care stuff and the body autonomy. Okay? We don't need to worry about protect against equal treatment based on ethnicity, because we know that a lot of people, everybody in New York is a different race. But the two things that Kathy Hochul, okay, and Letitia James have just mentioned in that video, the video that I showed yesterday and just a few minutes ago, national origin, meaning illegal immigrants, they want more protections from them because Donald Trump talks about stopping the sanctuary status and deporting illegals. Never mind about age, but definitely keep that in mind, because when you hear what this woman has to say about this whole thing, what age has to do with it also, this should put total fear into every single parent in New York. Please, people, there is no reason to put down anything about age in an amendment. And people say, yeah, but it's an amendment to protect people. That is a given, people. That is a given. We know this already. It is taboo to mess with kids, to not protect them. It is a given. Why would they specifically do about age? Keep that in mind. Let's not talk about disability. Not that there's nothing, not trying to exclude it. I'm just saying we don't have to worry about that. But sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, age, national origin. Keep those in mind. Here we go.
That she will convey it to you, especially if you're in New York and you're trying to figure out how to vote. So tell me, Proposal 1, what does it look like on the ballot and what is it?
Right, so Proposal 1 on your ballot looks wonderful. You know, it says, vote yes if you want to protect against unequal treatment for these classes of people. So it sounds really good, and most people will have the initial knee-jerk reaction to vote yes. But what Proposal 1 really is a Trojan horse. The language you see on your ballot is not the language that will go into our Constitution if Proposal 1 passes. You don't get to see the actual language that would go into the Constitution. And part of that language that you don't get to see is an entire paragraph that gives the government the power to discriminate against us if they're doing so in the name of reversing a past discrimination or preventing a future discrimination. So it's not even the actual language that will go into the Constitution if Prop 1 passes.
So is this the kind of thing that's going to put biological males on girls' sports teams?
Absolutely, absolutely. The language says you can't discriminate against someone based on gender identity, gender expression. That means biological males will have a constitutional right to play on girls' sports teams, use women's safe spaces like bathrooms, locker rooms, dormitories, prisons. That will become a constitutional right, no doubt.
Okay, I'm jumping in again. Okay? That right there in itself is going to protect men from doing that. Okay? So that means every nightclub they get to use the women's bathroom, every bar they get to use the women's bathroom, every restaurant, every movie theater, every store, wherever there's a women's bathroom, men with a sick agenda are going to be able to go in there, aka predators. And there's not going to be a damn thing they can do about it. Because now they're protected because the law passed on election night. It gets better. Not better in the sense of a good thing, but people, I made a video a while ago about the laws that they passed in California that Gavin Newsom, that snake of a man, passed, that now it's affecting parents, where teachers are given the right to basically, and I did video on this, and there's parents coming out now trying, sending video where teachers are basically trying to indoctrinate their kids, and there's nothing the parents could say because Gavin Newsom gave teachers in cahoots with the Board of Education the right at their sole discretion, okay, to have any conversation with the parents about anything that's going on in the school. So now the parents' hands are tied, even though a lot of them are fighting back, but they're tied. I warned everyone back then that if it starts in New York or California, it's going to spread. It started in California, that now if you don't, okay, if you don't recognize the identity that your child wants to have, their pronouns or whatever the damn case is, that the state will come and take your child. Now in New York, with this law, what do you think is happening right now? What do you think they just passed? Like I said, it gets better. Pay attention.
Out.
Am I also right in thinking that the language surrounding the court's role in preventing discrimination based on national origin actually opens the door to fights over whether illegal immigrants are entitled to vote, because blocking them from voting would be discrimination?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Now I'm jumping in again real quick. I'm sorry. Okay, I got to break it down. What did Eric Adams do 2 years ago? He wanted to open up the pathway to giving 800,000 non-eligible voters the right to vote. Now, it's in the New York State Constitution, because this Proposition 1 got voted in yes on Tuesday, election night.
Language says you can't discriminate based on national origin, so now illegal immigrants will have the same constitutional rights as New Yorkers, and that's going to open the floodgates to include the right to vote. That is going to be a conflict with another part of our Constitution that says that only citizens can vote. Well, now we have two parts of the Constitution conflicting against one another. Now we have to fight it out in court and figure out which one is right, which one's more powerful. So you're absolutely right, Brett. That is another consequence if Prop 1 passes.
And I understand from you that this proposal is being sold on the basis of enshrining reproductive rights in the New York State Constitution. Are reproductive rights protected by this proposal?
Yeah, so this is really a really big play on words here. The word abortion is not even mentioned in Prop 1. And the word right is not even mentioned in Prop 1. So there's no right to an abortion being given in proposal number 1. It says you can't discriminate based on someone's pregnancy or someone's pregnancy outcomes. No, this is not what they're selling it to be, which is, they're saying this will enshrine abortion rights in the Constitution, but there's no right being conferred here.
So,
which, in my opinion, the reason why they left it like that, now I may be wrong, if anybody knows more than me, and leave it in the comments, I think they did that for one sole purpose. And that's to leave open the idea that when it comes to reproductive rights or however which way they're wording it, is so that anyone can get an abortion at any given time of their pregnancy. Think about that, people.
is it fair to say that in New York State, if this law passes, that courts will be adjudicating which citizens are entitled to be prioritized rather than delivering equal protection under the law?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen, because you will have these protected classes pitted against one another and fighting over, well, whose rights are more superior to the other person's. Is a trans athlete's rights more superior to a girl's right to have the ability to play sports on a girl's team? Right? So,
and that's what they've been pushing. And ever since Donald Trump said, he's been saying it for the longest, that he is going to pass a national law that it's going to be against the law. Look at the way New York came and decided to put these laws together before Trump got in. But here's the thing, okay? This was going to happen no matter what. Whether Trump got in or not, this was going to happen no matter what. Okay? All this was going to happen. But now, since Trump is out in the open about what he's going to do, you just heard Kathy Hochul and Letitia James say two things that they're going to be protecting. Okay? And here it is. Now, the guy is talking in the past tense because this video came out, like I said, 4 days ago, before the election. Okay, today's Friday. So this came out, I'm assuming, Monday. Okay? The election was Tuesday. They voted on this Tuesday. It passed.
Now we're going to see people fighting against one another. If you can't discriminate based on pregnancy outcomes, are hospitals, Catholic hospitals in New York State, going to be forced to perform abortions now or lose their funding from the state? Right? We're going to see these everyday situations play out, and they're going to be very litigious. There's going to be a lot of infighting going on.
And there is a provision in this proposal, or it appears to attempt to prevent discrimination based on age, which people will naturally.
Okay, now, this is where it gets important, people. Okay? And out of all of this is the sickest part. And I cannot stress, and I've been saying it on so many videos, I've been saying it since I started my channel, other people have been saying it, they are out to get the kids, man. California's already doing it. Other states are trying to do it. It started in Canada a few years back with Trudeau passing, I can't think about it, HR 1, I forgot what it was, I'm confused with that. But it started there, and I warned about this. And I'm not even going to say I warned about this on my channel, because I didn't have a channel back then. But I was telling friends and family that they hear about what happened in Canada. Oh, that's in Canada. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, wherever it starts, it's going to spread. And it went from Canada that if you do not accept your child's sexual identity, transgender identity, the state will take your child. California's doing it. Here we go in New York. Listen to this.
Surely imagine is about the elderly,
Right.
but the way it's written, am I correct in thinking that actually this potentially enables children to avail themselves of rights that would ordinarily be the province of their parents?
Definitely. If you can't, discriminate based on age, you're now treating children as adults, and you are severing that parental relationship with the child and allowing the government to step in and help the child make these decisions instead of the parent. And we have a bill sitting in Albany waiting to be passed, which if Prop 1 passes, this type of a bill would easily pass and become law. And that specifically says children can make their own medical decisions without parental consent, without parental knowledge. The parents still have to pick up the bill, but the parents are not allowed to know what medical treatments their child is receiving. And even if you try to find out, and you call that doctor's office or you call the hospital and say, what are you doing with my child? This bill says they're not allowed to tell you unless the child gives consent.
So proposal 1.
Sorry about that. Okay, so now every time you send your children to school in New York, people, that means that the Board of Education, whoever they put, all these teachers, all these sick individuals that they put to teach your children, when they start with their gay study courses and their LGBTQ courses or whatever the hell courses it is, they will be indoctrinating your children. Your children will be making decisions when they are brainwashed, and when they start their transition, okay, they will be able to sign on the dotted line without your consent to take hormone blockers, to start going to therapy so they can start getting surgery. They can start making all these decisions without your consent. This is incredible. I know a lot of people are going to look at this, and I know the people on the left are going to say, you know what, no, it's only made for the elderly, this, and that. They already have laws for that. Read between the lines, people. If you have someone that you're taking care of and they're elderly, okay, and their mind is going. You have what they call proxies, okay? You have people that will become power of attorney, okay? Family members, it usually mostly family members, and then after that is probably a close family friend, depending. They have laws for elderly people that can't make decisions. They have laws for that. That law has not been infringed upon. This is why I said pay attention to what it says about age. It has nothing to do with elderly. And it definitely has nothing to do with anybody that's mentally incapable, because when I lived in New York, I was a superintendent to a building. There was one tenant that had a lot of mental issues. He lived with his brother, and I'm talking a while ago. His brother got fed up with it, moved out. Every single time this individual would start drinking, okay, he would walk out into the hallway. He lived on the 3rd floor. I lived on the 5th floor. I would get phone calls. So-and-so is out in the hallway again. You got to call the cops. He's out there with a knife. He wouldn't listen to anybody. He wouldn't listen to the cops. And then I would hear the cops knocking on my door. So-and-so wants to speak to you. I was the only one in the building that can come down and say, hey, so-and-so, what's going on? You okay? And he say, hey, what's up? He put the knife down, give me a hug. I'm having a bad night. We talked to the cops. This happened over and over and over again. Until finally I got fed up. And I'm telling you, okay, nobody has ever heard this on my channel. I swear to you that I brought this up to the landlady and I said, why isn't this man in a certain area? What is going on? This, and that. And she said it in front of the cops, and the cops told me he is protected. Unless he hurts somebody, there is nothing we can do. He is protected by New York State rights. By law, a guy that's mentally handicapped is protected. So this law has nothing, in my opinion, to do with anybody that's older that can't think straight. This has everything to do with giving children the right to tell their parents, I don't want to listen to you because so-and-so over here on this side is telling me this. This is what I want to do. I'm 12 years old. I want to be a boy. I want to be a girl.
Would set up that bill for passage.
Oh, yeah.
All right, the final thing is many people will look at this and they will think, well, that's a terrible idea, but I don't live in New York. It doesn't affect me. But what you said in your...
Pay attention to what he just said. I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay? Listen.
Yeah.
All right, the final thing is many people will look at this and they will think, well, that's a terrible idea, but I don't live in New York. It doesn't affect me. But what you said in your presentation on this proposal chilled me to the bone, which was, if this passes, it's coming to a state near you. This is a test of a strategy for a bait and switch, for making something that sounds lovely that all people would want to embrace and using it to smuggle in this diabolical change to the law which uninvents equal protection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is really a bait and switch. And, you know, I was speaking here at the Brownstone event, I was speaking with another fellow who is from Australia. And, you know, something like this is already happening in Australia with their,
Yep.
you know, anti-discrimination
Yep.
speech law. And this Prop 1 is...
I'm going to cut in real quick. And not only Australia, like I said, Canada. If anybody goes on Maya Tusi's channel, a lot of you guys should know Maya Tusi. If you don't, go on his channels. I've covered some of his stuff. What's going on in the UK? What's going on in Britain? What's going on in London? Okay? Where the Muslim extremists are able to go out there and cause havoc because under extreme discrimination laws, now they're being protected to pretty much do and say whatever it is that they want. While the citizens, the nationals from Europe, from England, from the UK, from London, are being told silent. Don't say a word. If you say anything, we're going to come and arrest you. I've been trying to tell people about what happened in California. It started with Canada, and I said, be careful. if it's going to happen there with Trudeau is part of that whole cabal, it's going to spread. Then it got to California. Now look at what they're doing in New York. And she's talking about Australia. But it's also happening in other parts of Europe also.
Basically will have the same effect as an anti-discrimination speech law if Prop 1 passes, because now that paragraph B gives the government the authority to discriminate. And so, well, the government will determine what is discrimination, what is hate speech. The courts will determine what is discrimination, what is hate speech. So that takes the power of free speech away from the people. It would also affect, freedom of religion, because now, what if the government deems your religious institution is, discriminating in their beliefs, in their practice?
And if anybody knows, okay, and I'm sure, I'm hoping that this is ringing a bell in people's heads, something that happened in the past, in the Obama era, okay, when they were trying to pass it, with Obamacare, that certain places, pretty much everybody had to pay for abortion. And there was religious institutions that said, no, we're not going to do that. It's against our religion. And they pushed them, saying that if you don't, you're going to get in trouble. Okay? And during COVID, there was people being pressed. They were telling churches to shut down. The government was stepping in, stepping on people's religious rights. Listen to what she's saying. This is exactly what's going to happen. Okay? Where if you have a hospital in New York, let's say, I don't know, Our Lady of Mercy, okay? They're supposed to be one of the best top-notch hospitals in New York. I know, because I've been there. I mean, it used to be kind of crappy, then it got better. There's a lot of St. Barnabas, same thing. They're based around religion. Okay, Catholic. Now the law is going to say you can't discriminate. They're protected. It's in the Constitution. It's in the New York State Constitution. You've got to do X, Y, and Z. You've got to give that 9-month abortion. You've got to do that sex change operation on a 12-year-old girl or boy, because they are protected. You're discriminating. See how that works, people?
Practices in their religious norms. This is really a tremendous power grab by the government.
Yeah, and it sets us up for an absolute dystopia in which this becomes a never-ending team sport where the courts step in on behalf of one group and go after another group, and so it's really a question of just simply who's in power and who they don't like, and where they choose to see discrimination and where they choose to ignore it. And there's no conceivable way that a just society could survive under such rules. So, New York.
I'm leaving it at that. And like I said, I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go on the channel and check it out. Okay? This is why I was saying for the longest, man. And I wasn't thinking about a lot of this stuff months ago. As we got closer to the election, that's when I started saying, don't forget the small elections. This is one of the small elections. I tell you, the left, they are on an evil campaign. The battles that we fight are not against flesh and blood. It's a spiritual battle. They are trying to destroy what God has created. They are trying to break up the nuclear family, take away the children from the parents, take God out the equation, and just let everybody have to be able to live in this sick, demented fantasy. Okay? No right adult in their right mind should have even thought about stuff like this, because they should have thought, had they been right in the head, you know what? No, we're not going to pass this law. Let's just try to beef up the laws we have now. No, they had to go and make something else. And then you got somebody like that snake of a woman, Kathy Hochul, and the other one, Letitia James, okay, they're putting it in their speeches because they know that Trump is coming in to say, you know what, you can't do X, Y, and Z. Okay? But how do you work around that? You put it in your state's constitution. Okay? Wow, this is crazy. Please, people, pass this video around. Put it on your Facebook. Put it on your Instagram. As a matter of fact, I'm going to change the code so like that when you this is how I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Once I drop the video, within the first 5-10 minutes, I got to do it then. This is how I do it. Right down here where it says share, all you got to do is where it says copy. Okay? That's all you got to do when I drop my video. And then wherever you go on your channel, or it could even be in the browser, you right click, you press paste, you click on it, it pops up. That'll go right to the video. You dig what I'm saying? I'm pass this everywhere. Sorry. Okay? Like I said, just copy it, drop it. Tell your family and friends, especially if they're in New York. It doesn't matter what state. If it started in California, it's already in New York. It's going to hit Chicago. It's going to hit Colorado. It's going to hit all the blue states first. Okay? Anywhere where they have a stronghold, that's where it's going to hit. And then, maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years. Okay? Maybe 10 years. Little by little, they will try to find a way to embed their people into the communities, into political positions, and then they'll start with the same song and dance, little by little, little by little. And by the time you know it, okay, it's all over the United States. People will be losing their children. Children will be transitioning like there's no tomorrow. It will become, it will be insane. And I'm not putting this out to put fear into you to make you just cower down. Turn that fear, and not, when I say into anger, not an anger to go out there and hurt somebody physically, no. An anger that will make you put your foot down and say no, enough. We're gonna beat them at the poll booth. We're getting these people out. We're killing these laws, these amendments, whatever it is, all these propositions, initiatives, we want them out. We want people in there, back in there, to get the right people in there and do away with all these draconian, sick, twisted, demented laws that they're trying to pass. Okay? And another thing, before I wrap this up. What should scare you is the fact that if in this proposition that it protects illegal immigrants, somebody made a good case on a video yesterday. If you care so much about protecting the illegal immigrants, why are you so adamant about protecting the ones that are known criminals? This law will protect the criminals also. So all those criminals have to do is put on lipstick and a dress and say, I'm a woman, and now you got some rapist from another freaking country, okay, coming here and doing dirt in New York and elsewhere in the United States. These people are evil, man. These people are evil. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children, pray for this country, pray for your enemies, pray for Donald Trump. And quickly, I want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Peace.